something has in recent times started to bother me.
A sentry kit is available near your location.
I got into a very interesting argument with
We have armed
someone.
objective butter.
Apparently, there are a lot of people who don't understand that anyone who knows how to hack knows how to change their IP address to make it look like they're from any country. Would it have been Russia?
The enemy has
Yeah.
defused objective butter.
Is it just as likely that it was any other country? Yeah, because I literally have two apps on my phone that when they work together can make it look like I'm in
We have armed objective
any
butter.
country I want to. And I think it's fucking bullshit. Yeah, that everyone thinks it's
The enemy has
Russia.
defused objective apples.
Like, it's complete bullshit. Any hacker that knows what they're doing knows how to use a VPN. You use a VPN, it's impossible to tell what country the message is out of. I mean, anyone that knows
We have taken out objective
anything
butter.
about hacking, like 12-year-olds that hack Facebook pages know how to use a fucking VPN when they hack stuff. There's no way that they were able to identify the actual country of origin that the hackers are from. Now, one of the things that those idiots probably have done is they found the location that they proxied to, because when you're disguising where you are, you have to disguise it with an alternative location, which is where it appears that you are. And it's very possible that the area of Russia is one of those places that it appear they are. It's actually a fairly common thing for people to
We
do.
have armed objective apples.
If someone hacks a country, they oftentimes pose as a different country. Now, I'm not talking about like countries, but like
The
just
enemy
in
has
general when
defused
people hack.
objective apples.
And I know quite a bit about this. But even like people that hack a fucking
We have
video
armed
game
objective
using
apples.
VPN, so they don't know. I mean that both physically, I mean that both literally and metaphorically, because you don't know who's screwing your stuff up when you VPN. Listen here. Listen here, I got 8 bullets in this pistol. And all of them are going for you if you mess with me right now.
We have taken both objectives. The enemy artillery barrage is
How did you get shot at? Wasn't it way over there? So I duck away from it and I get shot by someone who's like right next to me. Alright, defend. Alright. I'm just gonna go ahead and respawn real quick on that vehicle that I just saw it cruising past. Yeah, right there.
Attack
Right
the new
there, right
objectives.
there. I like the way you do that right there, right there. Surprise! Anybody over here? Yep. I feel like running up the side of this hill over here. I can't. Where the fuck is this? Who has the audacity to shoot at me? I hate the hill. Like, if you're downhill and you try to use this mortar thing, like, it doesn't work at all. Alright,
We have armed objective butter.
No, I know that you see me. I know that
Return
you
to
see
the
me.
combat area.
Fuck off. But it's bad for me.
We have armed objective apples.
Oh wow, you can use a tripwire and an incendiary grenade. You, sir, are gay. There's no other way to describe
We have taken out
your
objective
actions.
butter.
Oh, that is gay. That is greatly gay. And if it from
The
anyone
enemy
that I
has
describe
defused
that is
objective
gay,
apples.
then, well, I don't care. You can be butthurt all you want. I don't give a fuck. I am not here to be your mommy and hold your hand and things about you.
Questa granata è tutta per loro!
We have armed objective apples. The enemy has defused objective apples.
Motherfucker. That one a-hole just had to run through the door without reloading that stupid piece of shit LMG. Didn't he? He just had to do it right and didn't he? Just mother. That's in here. Some idiot was running around around the entire game with an LMG trying to tell me that he was using an assault rifle the whole time. And to that I reply, you are stupid. You are greatly stupid to confuse a light machine gun with an assault rifle. You sir are unbearably stupid. Why is it the second? What the hell? I said. I see. What? How the hell did I get across? I don't even remember getting that thing. Yay, I just remembered I got that thing. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I am chewing gum. Now to get back on topic, like, I'm pretty sure they're blaming Russia just so they can do like that typical news thing where like they paint someone as the clear criminal, so that way when it turns out it's not actually them, everyone gets upset over it. I think that's totally what they're trying to do. Just like with the O.J. Simpson case, just like with that other one where they're trying to make it look like that Mexican guy was racist when he wasn't. What's it? What was that? trying to remember what the fucking dude's name was. That one Trayvon Martin case, that's what it was. Like, in both of those, they try to make it look like that dude did something wrong. And then, like, later there's like, they came out later and said, yeah, we kind of twisted the story around a little bit to make it look like one person was more guilty than they actually were. And we kind of knew it from the whole time. At least I know they did that. I don't know if they did that with the O.J. Simpson, but I know they ended up doing it with the Trayvon Martin case, because the dude who ended up changing around some of the facts in that case, when they did it in the news, ended up getting fired over it. The dude who changed the facts in that for ratings did get fired. I remember that part. But I'm pretty sure they're just like doing that just to like freak people out and be like, whatever, it's that way. When it turns out everyone's like, oh, they're getting away free. Like, they're gonna try and do that so it makes it seem like they're getting away with something when they really didn't do anything. They do that a lot. And I know what I'm saying, a lot of people are all like, oh, whatever, but I mean, there's a lot of messed up things that the news gets away with that they don't get in trouble for. Motherfucker. I hate that gun so much because you can spam it so freaking fast. Not only is that why I hate it, but when you go and you actually check the analog, it tells you how fast each gun's supposed to go. That gun is supposed to cycle at about 400 rounds a minute. You can shoot it way faster than 400 rounds a minute. That's complete bullshit. Oh yeah. This pistol is pretty awesome. If you guys can't tell, that's what I'm smacking around right now. And another thing that they're probably going to do is the news is probably going to freak out whenever they quote-unquote figure out Russia wasn't behind it. Then they're going to try and blame the, oh, Trump loves Russia. They're going to pull out that card again. But I'm pretty serious though. Like, there are so many times that the news has done this kind of stuff and gotten away with it. so much fun to just keep racking this thing back over and over and over again. By the way, for those of you that can't guess, this is actually just a little 9mm handgun. It's pretty cool. It is made by a place in Turkey called Echo. It's pretty cool. This thing is so much fun. And that loud metallic click you guys are hearing is not me dry firing it. It's me pulling the slide back, having the empty magazine bump up the slide catch, and then me releasing the slide. Now, I know that is bad for most handguns, because having it slam forwards causes the slide and the barrel to mash against each other and actually causes problems with it. I'm gonna take this apart real quick and look at the barrel. Nice, check something. There we go. I totally just dropped the takedown lever, but whatever. Some of the finish is starting to come off on the barrel. That's what I was afraid of. Shut up. thing. It's freaking awesome. I love that pistol so much. I am so sorry for going quiet for that long. I didn't intend to. I was just playing with my pistol. So just so you guys know, like, the idea that a country would hack into a computer system, like their military would hack into a computer system, is one thing that's pretty doable. However, the idea that they would hack into a computer system and you would actually be able to know about it, that is probably never ever gonna happen. I highly doubt that a country with almost infinite resources and technology that actually is one of the countries that has the most hackers in the world, would somehow leave some kind of clue or evidence behind that they were the ones responsible. Now, there is something else called a false flag, where countries will leave hints that a different country other than the actual country doing whatever is responsible for the actions. When it is an attack, it's known as a false flag attack. When it's an event, it's known as a false flag event. It's usually whatever. And in the case of like evidence or whatever, it's called false flag evidence. Isn't that interesting? There was actually a lot of false flag evidence in the Second World War as well that a lot of people don't like talking about either, but that's a completely different topic that I'm not going to get into on this video. Like, I am like 99.999% sure that it's media bullshit and that later on we're gonna figure out, oh, whatever, it's not true, or like they're gonna try and convene that whatever national summit, and then the Russians are gonna be found not guilty of whatever crimes they're accused of. 99% sure that's what's going to end up happening. And there are going to be a lot of people upset over that, but that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I mean, you guys can cry over it all you want, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going to end up happening. 99.999999999% sure that's exactly what's going to end up happening. I mean, like, the amount of things the media has done and gotten away with is like astronomical and baffling to quite a few people, but I mean, once you start noticing like all the fucking bullshit they try to pull off, I mean, after all, you start noticing that there's like a pattern to it. After a while, you just start to know when they're full of shit and when they're not. But you gotta be able to identify what's real and what is fake. Like, you have to have someone point it out to you. And then after they've done it a few times, then you'll start to be able to tell for yourself. It's kind of like if there's two colors and you don't know what those two colors are, but you know that they're colors, and then someone tells you, hey, that's red over there, and that one's blue, then all of a sudden, every time you see those, you're like, oh, that one's red and that one's blue. It's kind of like with the news. Normally people just watch the news, but once people show you, alright, usually when they do whatever about this, whatever about that, then it's usually a lie. After that, and you start noticing it, then you start realizing, like, when there's, like, things. Now, one of the main things to look for is if they have something to gain by telling you whatever it is they're telling you. Like, a good portion of what the lies involving the news are politically motivated. Because most news stations are secretly affiliated with certain political parties, so I mean, once you figure out what political party that particular group is associated with, you can then pretty much figure out, like, which way they're going to slant the news. And you just, like, relax, watch it a few times. And then after a few times of watching, you start to realize, like, that's one of those things. And like when you're watching the news, like after you start to learn how to question, like, what are they going to gain from that? After you start asking those questions when you watch the news, you start noticing, like, right away you can tell what's probably going to be a lie and what's not. And after a while, you can get pretty good at being able to tell what is, like, total BS and what's not. But yeah. It's just, like, sometimes, like, when I watch the news, like, at first, I started noticing the lies. Now, every time I see the lies, I wonder how many people are watching this and taking it seriously. Because it used to be, like, it used to bother me. Then I started seeing the lies, and I could tell what was real and what wasn't, and it stopped bothering me. But then after a while, it started bothering me again, because I realized there are other people that are believing in all of it, and a good portion of it's just a whole bunch of political BS. Another thing I started noticing, a lot of times, like, most of the people that are responsible for, like, educating children are liberals. And that just like always like came off as strange to me. Like when you actually like watch, like you've ever been in a classroom or anything, and you watch most of those liberal teachers, they convey their beliefs onto their students, which I don't think anyone should be sharing their political beliefs with their students. I believe that when it comes to teaching, the teachers should probably be bipartisan in terms of their views, so as not to upset the parents of the students, because there were so many freaking liberals in my high school. Like, I couldn't stand it. Like, I wanted freaking complain to the school board. There were so many like freaking liberal Nazis everywhere. It's like that's the one area that the liberals mainly control, is like the education areas. I mean, there's actually a high school near where I grew up where you can actually carry knives to school, and the school literally doesn't care as long as the blade's a certain length and it's not automatic. They literally don't care. I mean, I think it's like it has to be the length across your palm or something weird. As long as it's like the length across your palm, no one cares. Sorry for going quiet again. I was just thinking of something. Sometimes when I think of stuff, I talk out loud too, which sometimes weirds out my friends, because I'll just be thinking of something else and they'll start like mumbling stuff. And they'll get like freaked out for a second, so I'll just be like off somewhere, just not even focusing on what's going on around me, just making weird sounds, and sometimes freaks people out, but whatever. But yeah. I do a lot of thinking. I mean, I do. I think all the time. And one of the ways I also found figuring out lies is a lot of times there are two types of like public figures. Like, they're the public figures that people like, and they're the public figures that people hate. Now, if they are hated for political reasons, then usually they're not subject to what I'm about to say, but like the ones that are just like well-known people, like they're really good examples. Those are like Castro, Che Guevara, Hitler. Like those are those people where it's like some people they like them, and then there are other people where it's like you mention them and they're like, oh no, I'm not gonna have any of that around here. Like those are just like some of those people that like I want to say trigger people. So those are those extremely controversial figures, but I mean, be honest, like to me they're just people. And if I'm gonna like them or dislike them, it's gonna be based on facts, not because someone else tells me, oh, they're good or they're bad, or oh, they did this one terrible thing, or oh, they did these 2 or 3 terrible things. I'm going to try and just look at their life overall and just try and make an assessment of them, just to see like all the bad things and all the good things they did in their life, and see if the good things they've done outweigh all the bad things. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Because like a lot of people think like, oh, Che Guevara, he helped like enslave Cuba or something with communism. Well, they were under a communist dictatorship before Che and Castro actually got involved. It's kind of one of the things that the history books kind of forget to mention is before Castro and Che Guevara got over there, it was controlled by what is known as the Batista regime, which, yeah, it's a real tongue twister. Manuel Batista, the Batista regime. Batista. I think his name is Manuel, I can't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of Noriega. Let's ask Google. What is Batista's first name? What is Batista's first name?
Dave Bautista's full name is David Michael Bautista, Jr.
No, that's an actor. The Batista regime. Let's see what it says now.
Fulgencio Batista Zaldivar was the elected president of Cuba from 1940 to 1944 and U.S.-backed dictator from 1952 to 1959 before being overthrown during the Cuban Revolution.
So he was a dictator for about 4 years. Apparently he was backed by the United States as well. Isn't that interesting? The US-backed dictator of Cuba. And aren't most of the US politicians out now complaining that Castro and Che Guevara were communist dictators and that they were some kind of awful people? It's surprising what you learn when you actually go and look up the facts, because apparently they actually threw over a communist dictatorship. Because much like over in like Nazi Germany, Hitler was elected, and then after he was elected he became a dictator, which is exactly what happened with Batista. He was elected, and in a couple of years he basically became the dictator. Yeah, he was literally elected from 40 to 44 and was backed by the United States during his dictatorship from 52 to 59. Like, I just asked it and it still has the data popped up on there, but yeah. And Castro and Che Guevara took him out of power because the Batista regime was known as one of the most horrendous regimes. He was known for, if there were women that he disagreed with, he would have them unclothed and displayed in public for people to gawk at. Kind of sounds like that one dude from Iraq that they sent us after because he was supposed to be such a horrible person. Oh, and there was also that thing about the weapons of mass destruction that they just so happen to have never found. Just that interesting. Like, once you start paying attention to like the world around you, it seems to become clear that there are lots of things that go on that just shouldn't. Who was Che Guevara?
According to Wikipedia, Ernesto Guevara, also known as El Che, was an Argentine Marxist revolutionary, physician, author, guerrilla leader, diplomat, and military theorist.
That's more things than most politicians. Be really interested to find a politician with a what's it called? With a resume that long. Most politicians can't even get a doctorate. He actually had a doctor's degree from Buenos Aires, where he studied medicine there, which is actually one of the things that caused him to be really helpful during the Cuban Revolution, because he had a very useful skill, which allowed him to be a very helpful person. It also caused him to be a very valuable person. If I remember correctly, he was also one of the only people at that time that could read and write, so he was responsible for making most of the documentations for the camp as well as handling like letter writing and a whole bunch of other things. If I remember correctly, he also had a typewriter with him at all times while he was wandering through the jungles as well, and he would always set up tents and type stuff up. Apparently there was a movie made in 1961 called Guerrilla Warfare. I'm probably gonna go look for that later on Hulu. Why? What should I ask next? I mean, there are some people, like, the good things and the bad things don't necessarily outweigh themselves. Like, I think one of the other people I talked to earlier was Hitler. Let's talk about him a bit. What are some of the good things Hitler did? Let's see what it says. Let's see if it even comes up with a result. 12 things you were not told about Adolf Hitler, and that's gender. Da-da-da. Let's see. I don't know what this is. I know he made, like, smoking illegal in certain public areas, because when he was in the First World War, he had problems. He had a he was actually caught in the middle of a gas attack in the First World War. So he had breathing problems, like respiratory problems. And that caused him to be uncomfortable when people would smoke around him. And he would inhale it, it would cause him to have breathing problems. And another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the whole dislike of Jewish people is not actually like, it wasn't originally intended as like a racist thing. It was more like a boycott. Because like when you actually go and look into it, apparently Germany actually lost the First World War because of the British went to one of the Zionists and said, hey, we'll give you Palestine if you get the United States to come into the First World War. Because at that point, like, it was basically over. And, like, you would think that's, like, completely made up. But there are lots of things that, like, you're just really weird. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Really. What was the purpose of the Balfour Declaration?
According to Wikipedia, the initial draft of the declaration, contained in a letter sent by Rothschild to Balfour, referred to the principle that Palestine should be reconstituted as the national home of the Jewish people.
Who benefited from the Balfour Declaration? Yeah, this is actually, there's an entire thing on the History Channel website just about the Balfour Declaration. It was made in 1917 because, like, when it was just Germany and most of Europe, at that time, Germany had one of the most technologically advanced militaries in Europe at that time. They had better artillery and weaponry than any other military, which is why they basically tried to walk across Europe and take over a whole bunch of countries because they could. And then right towards the end, England was like, oh no, we might lose. And then one of the Rothschilds, I can't remember his name now, but it was one of the Rothschilds, basically walks up and goes, hey, what does it say? So yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, Zionism is a conspiracy theory. It was actually a movement that was created in, actually, you know what? When was the Zionist movement started?
According to Wikipedia, Zionism as an organized movement is generally considered to have been founded by Theodor Herzl in 1897.
1897. What is the purpose of the Zionist movement?
According to Britannica.com, Zionism, Jewish nationalist movement that has had as its goal the creation and support of a Jewish national state in Palestine, the ancient homeland of the Jews.
Yeah. That. And one of the things that's really crazy is that the actual, like, I'm gonna see if it does this. What is the definition of Zionism?
Zionism, a movement for, originally, the re-establishment and, now, the development and protection of a Jewish nation in what is now Israel. It was established as a political organization in 1897 under Theodor Herzl, and was later led by Chaim Weizmann.
Like 2 seconds ago it said, Jewish nationalist movement on the last thing I asked. So I'm gonna ask that next. What is the Jewish national... back, you put next. What is the Jewish nationalist movement?
According to Wikipedia, Zionism is the national movement of the Jewish people that supports the re-establishment of a Jewish homeland in the territory defined as the historic land of Israel.
What is a nationalist?
Nationalist, a person who advocates political independence for a country.
Because when people say nationalist, they usually think of like people like white nationalists or something. They're like neo-Nazi racists and stuff. And then there's National Socialists, which is also another type of like neo-Nazi that has an entire working class order and has like an entire hierarchy system that's like really weird. Like I actually spent a lot of time just like studying this stuff. And like the more you study stuff, like the crazier the world seems to you. What is a National Socialist?
According to Wikipedia, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, German, Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, HELP, Info, abbreviated NSDAP, commonly referred to in English as the Nazi Party, was a political party in Germany that was active between 1920 and 1945 and practiced the ideology of Nazism.
But yeah, to get back to the whole point, the Jewish people basically went over to England and said, hey, we'll get the United States in the war if you promise to give us Palestine. And England, basically having almost completely lost the war, goes, you know what, why not? Sure. And then the Rothschild does as he promises, gets his Jewish friends, which are also Zionists over in the United States, to go and help him out. By the way, at the time that the First World War was going on, around half of the banks in the United States were actually Jewish-owned banks. Almost all of the banks in the United States now are Jewish-owned banks, but that's a story for a different time. And these banks would, for the most part, give out loans to people that are in higher interest to basically the Zionist party. And one of the rules of the Zionist party for the bankers was that they told them if they want like loans and stuff to start like news companies or television companies, only give them money if they are Jewish and they're willing to follow the rules of the Zionist party. So basically every time like, and they have the same rule for banks too, like if someone wanted to start up their own bank, they wouldn't give them loans unless they were Jewish and they were a member of like the Zionist movement, which is how they basically slowly start taking control of things like that. That's also why you get like that stereotype, oh, Jews are only interested in money and stuff, because most of the Jews own like a large portion of the banks. That's why almost all the banks now are owned by them, because during the Great Depression, a whole bunch of banks went out of business. And if like one of the only banks left standing is one where they only give bank loans for starting up banks to other Jewish people, then, you know, every bank henceforth is going to be a Jewish bank. I mean, that's basically how it is. Because the Great Depression was around like 1920s, that era. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out exactly. When was the Great Depression?
From October 29th, 1929 to 1939.
Yep. From 29 to 39. 1929 to 1939. 29 to 39. Is when the Great Depression was. So right around then was when most of the banks went out of business. And that's how that basically came about. And a lot of people will like jump up and go like, well, there's no way that that could be possible. But it is. I mean, there are a lot of people that don't realize it, but the like a lot of people talk about, oh, white people are more privileged than black people or whatever. And I mean, the average white family only makes, I think, 500,000, or no, it's just 5,000 more a year than the average black family does. But the average Jewish family, I think, makes like 80,000 more than the average like family, just like the average American family. Actually, you know what? Where is it? How much money does the average black family make in the United States? Darn it. What's the average income? Back. It keeps putting in extra words because I keep saying stuff right when I hit the button and it puts a random extra word. What's the average income of a black family in the United States? Darn it, it didn't say it. I wanted to say it. Because I know you guys can see it. Average incomes in the United States. Fuck, it's so messed up. Average family incomes in the United States.
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. U.S. real median household income was $51,939 in 2013 versus $51,759 in 2012.
Alright, so the average household is 51,930 something. Alright, in 2014, which was the last update on here, which is alright. What is the average Jewish income in the United States?
Here's a summary from Jerusalem Post. The only other group to even come close to the average Jewish income was the Hindus, with 43% earning over $100,000.
Yeah, they're the only ones that came close to it. So that means they make more than 100,000. They said the Hindus are the only ones that came close at 100,000. If they're the only ones that came close, that means that there's more, that they make even more than that, which is something that surprises me. Average income of a white family in the United States.
Here's a summary from Forbes. In absolute terms, the median white household had $111,146 in wealth holdings in 2011.
Alright. Yeah, I'm probably gonna make a separate video about this later. Yeah. But yeah, like, this stuff is pretty weird though. But there are a lot of people that just don't bother to go out and look for like information on stuff. Like, it's pretty easy to go out and find information on a particular subject. I mean, you just have to be very careful of your sources, and you have to be careful what you accept as true, because there are many times, and a lot of the mistakes that some people make is they trust like a person that they know. They're like, oh, like, that person would never lie to me. Well, they don't necessarily have to lie to you. They just have to believe, they just have to tell you a lie that they themselves believe as well. Because they might not intentionally lie to you, but they might accidentally, like, pass on a lie to you that someone else had lied to them about. And that's one thing that a lot of people just don't seem to understand. It's just something that... ah, shit, I just dry fired my handgun, damn it. I hate doing that to this thing. You never did anything mean to me. Why should I do this? Oh, that looks really bad. I'm looking at the area on the back of the slide where the hammer makes contact with it, and it looks pretty bad. Ah, that's gonna bother me now when I look at that. I feel really bad for doing that. There, close the slide. Press the hammer. A Wimboa, a Wimboa, Wimboa, Wimboa. I am totally not doing the, I can't remember what it's called now, Lion King song. Well, like, yeah, like, people always talk about, like, white privilege. Oh, white people make more than black people, but Jews make more than everyone. What are the average American incomes?
$50,756. According to Wikipedia, the average foreign advanced degree was $72,824, with men averaging $90,761 and women averaging $50,756 annually.
Now that's just people in general, so it's like all of it like meshed together. Let's see. Here we go, that's what I'm looking for. In 2008, the overall average was $26 for a non-Hispanic white guy. It was around 31,000 for the average black person. It was around 18,000 for the average Asian. It was about 30,000 for the average Hispanic person. It was 15,000, and the average Jewish person was over 100,000. All right. What is the average household income in the United States?
$50,756. According to Wikipedia, the average foreign advanced degree was
that's
$72,824.
I should click on it to make it shut up. The weird thing is it like a nationalist Zionist movement, like the National Zion movement, like they actually have the white equivalent to that, because that was actually the white nationalist movement was actually made. Like I just looked up the thing, the white. Actually, you know what? Let's do it again. When was the white nationalist movement started? It doesn't actually bring up a date. That's disappointing. You know what? When was the Nazi Party started?
The Nazi Party was founded on February 24th, 1920.
1920, alright. When was the Nationalist Zionist Party started? That's not right, didn't even spell it right. When was the National Zionist Movement started?
Here is some information for when did the Zionist movement begin. According to n.wikipedia.org, this article is about Zionism as a movement, not the history of Israel. For other uses, see Zion. Zionism as an organized movement is generally considered to have been founded by Theodor Herzl in 1897. However, the history of Zionism began earlier and is related to Judaism and Jewish history.
Yeah, it started in 1897. Zionist nationalism. 1897. Started in 1897. So that's actually before the whole Nazi Party thing started. Which is weird. Now, these are actually the people that, to get back to the whole reason it started, that Balfour Declaration that gave the Jewish people Israel for helping the English. Funny thing about that, a lot of people don't realize that that particular instance, at that time, Germany was actually, before the First World War, Germany was actually very nice to the Jews. It was one of the only countries in Europe that basically didn't kick out the Jews as soon as they arrived, because at that time, before the First World War, the Jews were looked at as, like most people look at, like gypsies, or like the way they look at migrants and immigrants now. That was how people viewed the Jews back then, and Germany at that time was one of the only countries that allowed them in. And what happens many years later? The Zionists get a chance to get a country all to their own. So they betrayed Germany to get their own country. And Germany didn't know about this at the time. Then at the end of the First World War, they went to France to discuss how they were going to divide up the countries again and give everyone back their country. And then, if I remember correctly, there were over 100 members of the Zionist Party at that convention, and they kind of just popped up and were like, hey, what about Palestine for us? We have this document from this man named Balfour over in England promising it to us. And they basically said, like, sure, whatever. No one cares, it's just a whole bunch of Palestinians there anyway. Which is interesting because it's called Palestine, because the Palestinians live there. Interestingly enough, like, have you ever heard someone say Free Palestine? And like, you ever hear someone get upset because they're saying Free Palestine? Free Palestine is actually an idea that someone created, saying that, hey, you should give that land back to the Palestinians, it doesn't belong to you, which is because of that whole Balfour Declaration thing. Because while the Zionists were over in Palestine, they decided, you know what, we're just going to have a big war, and we're just going to kick out the major militaries out of Palestine. We're going to make it an independent country. So they did. And then they named this independent country. Can you guess what they named it? They named it Israel. So when people say, like, oh, Free Palestine, they're talking about give Israel back to the Palestinians. That's what the Free Palestine movement is. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna ask Google. What is the Free Palestine movement?
Here's a summary from Free Palestine Movement. The Free Palestine Movement is a California-based 501 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to challenge Israeli policies and actions that deny Palestinians their human rights, and in particular the right of unfettered access to all of Palestine.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. The Palestinians are only allowed to go to certain parts of Israel. They're not allowed everywhere. Kind of like how in the United States many years ago, black people weren't allowed to go in certain entrances and go to certain restrooms, kind of like that. That's how they treat Palestinians over there. Oh, and it's also illegal for a Palestinian to marry a Jewish person because they don't like race mixing over there. Doesn't that sound very racist? Oh, but wait, it doesn't stop there. Did you know that in Israel, you can be sent to jail for being gay? Oh, and if you want to move to Israel because you like it so much, and you want to become a citizen, well, you can't become a citizen unless you renounce whatever religion you have and adopt Judaism. Because that's basically the only religion that you're allowed to have when you live there. But once you become a citizen, you can then, after that, change it to whatever you want. After you become a citizen. Oh, and once you become a citizen, if you're not Jewish, then you have to marry a Palestinian because you can't be allowed to mix with any of the Jewish people there. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that just freaking amazing? And by amazing, I mean disgustingly horrible. Like, there are a lot of, like, screwed up laws in Israel. Oh, did you know that, kids are allowed to play with machine guns in Israel? I'm not kidding. Well, I'm not necessarily play with them, but kids are actually taught how to use machine pistols in Israel. And it's actually common for people to just carry around submachine guns with them, just walking down the street with a submachine gun under their arm, because over in Israel, everyone is actually required to become a member of the military. So basically everyone knows how to use whatever kind of guns they want. So if someone wants to, like, say, get an Uzi and just, like, walk around with an Uzi under their jacket, no one cares, as long as they do what is called an Israeli carry, which is where they basically just, this is one of the things that's basically unique to Israel. Not a lot of other people actually do it. They just walk around with the bolt closed and no bullet in the barrel. But they can have a loaded magazine, and then as soon as they need to use it, they just have to pull the bolt carrier back. Well, technically it's just a regular bolt on an Uzi. It's not a bolt carrier. A bolt carrier is the device that actually holds the bolt for, like, AR-15s and AKs and stuff, like actual rifles. Whereas with an Uzi, the bolt is actually a giant solid hunk of metal with a spring behind it. It's actually pretty neat how they machine it, but that's a different point. You're also not the first person to design a firearm quite like that either. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna figure out exactly when the when was the Israel Revolution? When was the Israel Revolution? When was the Israel Revolution? Oh, it doesn't say. When did Israel win its independence?
The 14th of May 1948. According to Wikipedia, on the 14th of May 1948, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. In the 1948 Palestine War entered its second phase with the intervention of the Arab state armies and the beginning of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War.
So the 14th of May 1948. May 1948. Alright, that's when it was? Alright. That is when it went from being known as the Palestine to being known as Israel. Dang it, I dry fired this thing again. Yeah, I'm trying to set it down. I keep, like, squeezing the trigger really fast and then slowly releasing it so that way the hammer can, like, cock back and then go forward without being caught. Because this trigger is like a double action trigger where I can squeeze it, or I can cock it back and squeeze it to release it. But the double action is kind of sucky on it. Like most normal triggers is you squeeze the trigger, then the trigger catches, and then you can let go of the trigger and the hammer will stay cocked back. And that's how normal, like, double action triggers work, especially with, like, the Sig Sauer style trigger. But this one does not work that way. It will cock back and it will drop, but you can cock it back further than the squeezing drop point. Damn it, I dry fired it again. Because I cocked it all the way back to put it into the resting position and accidentally squeezed it just barely too tight. Because when you have these things cocked back in that double action mode like that, it's just barely a little bit of a tap and it'll release. I don't know what that is, but that's just an amazing sound. I don't know, I just like that click. But yeah. Sorry for following that pistol. But yeah, like, I can talk about this stuff for quite a while. But to get back to the original topic, because the Zionists basically went to the convention and like, hey, give us Palestine. At that point, Germany was like, oh, that's the game. That's what you wanted. You wanted Palestine. That's why you sold us down the river, so you could get a country of your own. That's what the whole game was about. That's why you did that. And that's when the Jewish resentment started in Germany. That's when they started whatever, and then word got out about this over in Germany, and then you have what's known as the Night of Broken Glass. And for those of you who don't know what the Night of Broken Glass is, I'm going to see if it'll show up on here. What is the Night of Broken Glass?
Here is some information about Kristallnacht.
Oh, it doesn't read it. What is Kristallnacht? Aw. What happened in the Night of Broken Glass?
According to the History Place, a massive coordinated attack on Jews throughout the German Reich on the night of November 9, 1938, into the next day, has come to be known as Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass.
It doesn't describe what happened. I guess I'll just say it. Basically, a whole bunch of people got together and decided they were going to go to every store that the Jewish people owned over in Germany, and they were basically just going to smash out all the windows on every Jewish-owned store. They were just going to go and break all the windows and just completely screw up the stores. And it worked very well. And it's now known as the Night of Broken Glass. And it was one of the first things they did to show that the Jewish people that they were not very happy about them basically doing whatever and selling Germany down the river so they could get a homeland. And then after that all started happening, then Germany basically started like taking Jewish people out of their positions, started throwing them out of the banks, because with the nationalism, when you nationalize something, you basically take away private ownership of banks and businesses and companies. Now you can't have those privately owned. Those are all owned by the government. And that's why a lot of people say that the nationalist system is better, because you don't have corporate greed, you don't have all these other things. It's government run, it's government controlled, so you don't have to worry about someone wanting to cut corners to make costs cheaper or whatever. It's a finite item. You don't have to worry about people skipping out anywhere or making just complete junk. Everyone has to follow the same kind of manufacturing protocols and everything. Like in terms of like cars or firearms, they all basically have to withstand the same amount of stuff. They all have to have like the same safety features and everything. They all have to be able to do at least meet like bare minimum requirements for certain areas and everything. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize, the car known as the Beetle or the Volkswagen, the proper pronunciation is Volkswagen, or Volkswagen, that's what it is, Volkswagen. Let's see if it does it. What is the Volkswagen? Scheiße. What is the Volkswagen?
Enligt Wikipedia är Volkswagen, ofta förkortat VW, är ett tyskt bilmärke som ingår i Volkswagen-koncernen. Volkswagen ingår i koncernen Volkswagen AB som är en av världens största biltillverkare.
It just replied to me in... It just answered my question in German, because I properly pronunciated the name in German. Alright. What are the origins of the Volkswagen Beetle? This is gonna be awesome, wait for it.
According to Daily Mail, Adolf Hitler stole the idea for the iconic Volkswagen Beetle from a Jewish engineer and had him written out of history. A historian has sensationally claimed the Nazi leader has always been given credit for sketching out the early concept for the car in a meeting with car designer Ferdinand Porsche in 1935.
Ferdinand Porsche. Why does that name sound familiar? Oh, maybe he created the Porsches. Maybe that's what he did. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about where the Volkswagen Beetle came from. But one of the things that's really interesting is the original Beetle design actually looked like Beetle. It was weird. But yeah, it was basically because Hitler said, hey, if you elect me, I'm gonna make cars affordable and cheap and all this other stuff. And the way he did that was through nationalism. He nationalized the car industry and basically made it to where they had to basically have like military protocols and everything. Like imagine if the US military decided they wanted to open up a car company and have the US soldiers making cars, and if they had like strict military procedures and everything for cars. That's pretty much how like almost all the companies were at that time. They had to be like militarily strict about all the stuff they did, and they had to make stuff perfect. That was basically how the nationalism works. And like when Obama made the National Health Care Act or whatever, that's nationalizing healthcare, because it's now government-controlled healthcare that the government regulates and all this other stuff. And that's why a lot of people are calling him a communist for that. What is the act of nationalizing something? What is nationalizing? That's not spelled right at all. What is nationalizing?
Nationalize. Transfer a major branch of industry or commerce from private to state ownership or control.
Yeah, state meaning government control. It basically means like you're taking over stuff and giving it to the government. It's basically like communism almost, except I mean it's like a step up from communism, but I mean it's not exactly a perfect system, but I mean in communism, you're not rewarded for your efforts. Everyone's treated as equal, so like if you're a overachiever, you're gonna get treated the same as everyone else. Even if you did better than everyone else, you're still gonna get treated the same. So if you try your hardest, or you just don't try at all, you're almost gonna get treated the same, except if they know you didn't try at all, then you're getting sent to a gulag. As a matter of fact, Che Guevara, one of his most famous quotes is, "It should be a crime to think of individuals." And what he meant by that was, it should be a crime to think, oh, what if we offend an individual? And you're not supposed to think of individuals, you're supposed to think of, like, everyone as a whole. That was a bad example. That was a really, really bad example, actually. It's like, oh, what if one person doesn't want to give up their house? Well, if it benefits multiple people, if it's one person to give up his house, then that individual is being an individual. It's kind of like one of those situations where if it's like one person versus the masses, it doesn't work, but like, you basically thought that there are certain rights that individuals just should not have. Like, I made this video way longer than it was supposed to be, but I mean, I am really sad about that, everyone, but like, nationalism, I mean, nationalism is just like the government owns all the businesses and companies and everything. And there's like a one main person that tells you like all the rules and everything. I mean, it's one of the better forms of government, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if we made it to where all the companies and everything were owned by the US military, I mean, it would probably be a lot easier of a place to live in, because it would take away from a lot of like the wasteful stuff that most people do. Because if there's like 3 companies in one town doing the exact same thing, you don't need 3 companies doing the exact same thing. You just need one company that's like 3 times the size. But because those 3 companies are owned by 3 different people, you have 3 different companies. Yeah, it's a heap of bullshit. And when the government controls everything, the government sets the standards for everything, so they can set the prices as high or as low as they want. So whenever you see stuff like, oh, there's a sale going on or whatever, You're not gonna have sales. You're just gonna have one flat rate for everything. It's always gonna be the same price, unless the price of manufacturing the item has gone down somehow, or the price of manufacturing the item has gone up somehow. Which, if the places where those things are manufactured is nationalized as well, those prices shouldn't deviate at all. I don't mean like seriously though. Like, it's one of the government forms. It's not exactly terrible. It's better than we have, but it's not perfect. Yeah. But honestly, there are instances where I think that would actually be a better thing. But yeah, like, there are, like, way better things to do. sorry for going quiet again. I was just messaging someone. You know, it'd be awesome if this person would message me. Because they usually get up at about this time. So I know they're probably out there. So I'm messaging me. Sometimes ex-girlfriends do that. But yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, though, there are a lot of things a lot of people just don't realize. I'm trying to think of another thing that I talked about right quick. But yeah, that's basically what started it all. Is they basically traded Palestine for the Germans. World War I victory. Basically said, hey, we'll get the United States involved if you give us Palestine. That was basically how that ended up going. And then, get this. This is the really interesting part. After they started nationalizing, they started throwing all these Jews out of their prominent jobs and everything. The Zionists got so mad. The Zionists went and messaged Germany, they're like, hey, you stop all this and you give them their jobs back, or you will be sorry. And all of a sudden, after they started throwing those people out of jobs, those same contacts they used in the United States, well, they used them again. And they started going on about Germany was so awful. They use their contacts in the United States to go on and on about how awful Germany was and all this other stuff, and on 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 and on. Sorry for going quiet again. Dealing with something. Yeah, this thing is really freaking awesome. But yeah, so the news went on and on about how awful Germany was over in the United States. Interestingly enough, they actually started circulating stories about how Germany was supposedly killing off the Jews long before the storybooks say anything about concentration camps. They started that story way back when, because they were trying to get the United States to go in after Germany, just like they did with the First World War. And they kept trying to get the United States to go in, and they kept trying, because after the First World War, a lot of people like figured out, hey, this was just a trick. They just wanted us to get into this war so that way they could gain whatever from it. But it kept going over and over, and they kept saying, oh, they're over there killing Jews. They kept saying it over and over and over and over and over again. Until the United States went over there to visit Germany, and they got met with resistance, and well, the resistance was pretty much D-Day. That's the resistance I'm referencing. A whole bunch of people trying to get onto a beach. To go into a country because Germany was going all over Europe and just basically goose marching across a large majority of the European countries. But what a lot of people don't realize is that until Germany tried to take over Russia, I mean, their casualties were like extremely low, because for the most part the German military didn't actually encounter very much resistance in most of those European countries that they went into, because most of the European countries they went into had nationalism centers where they distributed nationalist propaganda, so a lot of people did not actually stand up and fight against the Nazis when they walked in. A lot of people actually hopped up and wanted to join them, so all the propaganda that they had spread around before they came to visit. Now the interesting thing about yeah, I keep bumping buttons on this stupid controller, sorry that. But that's one of those things that a lot of people just wanna, they don't realize, is that over in Russia you can't exactly just go and start distributing stuff because it's a communist dictatorship. You go over there and try to throw around like whatever, and that you don't have approval from the guys up at the top, you're going to jail. Which reminds me, after the First World War, Hitler tried to overthrow a country. I can't remember what country it was. There was actually a bar where a whole bunch of like the leaders of that country or whatever were gathering that day, and he wanted to basically just like run over there with a bunch of people and just like take it over. 6 people ended up dying, and during the Second World War there was actually a shrine to memorialize them as like the 6 fallen heroes or something. But yeah. Why was Hitler put in jail?
According to Wikipedia, Hitler was found guilty of treason and sentenced to 5 years in Landsberg prison.
What country did Hitler fail to overthrow? let's do this easy. Where is Lamsburg Prison?
Landsberg Prison is at Hindenburg Ring 12, Landsberg im Lech, Germany.
Okay, so he was sent back to Germany from whatever country he tried to overthrow. What country did Hitler try to overthrow with 6 people? That still doesn't say it. What was the first country Hitler tried to overthrow? Let's see if that gets it. Alright, this one looks right. Why was Hitler arrested?
According to Day, he served 8 months of a 5-year sentence for high treason for his role in leading an attempted coup known as the Beer Hall Putsch.
Alright, let's see here. What is the Beer Hall Putsch? 836.
Here is some information about Beer Hall Putsch.
No, it doesn't read it. It might have actually been German, I'm not sure. What country did Beer Hall Putsch try to overthrow?
According to history, from November 8th to November 9th, 1923, Adolf Hitler and his followers staged the Beer Hall Putsch in Munich, a failed takeover of the government in Bavaria, a state in southern Germany.
Bavaria, that's what it is. He tried to overthrow Bavaria, alright. Let's see here. Who died in the Beer Hall Putsch?
Here's a summary from history. On November 8, 1939, Georg Gelser planted a bomb at the Burger Brau Keller, where Adolf Hitler was delivering a speech commemorating the Beer Hall Putsch. Hitler left the beer hall shortly before the bomb detonated, killing 7 people and injuring dozens more.
Yeah, it's not even what I asked. It was people who died at an event that was about the event that I was actually trying to figure out about. What the hell? How many members of the Beer Hall Putsch died? Because I remember there's like a memorial for those people. What is the Beer Hall Putsch Memorial? I don't even know if that's the real name or not, but we're gonna figure out.
According to Wikipedia, the Beer Hall Putsch, also known as the Munich Putsch and, in German, as the Hitler Putsch or Hitler-Ludendorff Putsch, was a failed coup attempt by the Nazi Party leader Adolf Hitler, along with General Quartiermeister Erich Ludendorff and other Kampfbund leaders, to seize power in Munich, Bavaria, during 8 to 9.
During 8 to 9, what? doesn't tell me who died in the thing, though. Grr. Because I know that, I think it was either 12 or 6 people died, and they ended up making like a shrine to them. I think it was like the 6 martyrs or something weird. And supposedly the original Nazi flag had the red outer lining of the original Nazi flag was supposed to be like the blood of those 6 people who died in the original coup d'etat or whatever. Damn it, I dry fired it again. I'm gonna set it down. Nope. I gotta pick it up again. Wait, get on it. Wait, do it. Like, you're like getting excited and squeezing it a little bit more, a little bit more. Yeah. But yeah, like there are a lot of things a lot of people just don't know about. And there are a lot of people that are just like, oh, my parents know best or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but your parents could also be telling you a lie that someone told them that they ended up believing. Alright, I put some rubber in here. Let's see if that prevents it from getting dry fired. Nope. Nope. And yes, I just ended up dry firing it again, testing that. Damn yacht. Here's a piece of wood, maybe that'll soften it up. Nope. I just dry fired this thing 3 times in a row. I am so done. Holy shit. Yes, I do cuss way too much. How did you know? Let's see. But yeah. That was one of the first coup d'etats. Nose tried. But yeah, after he basically took control of all the companies, like all the Zionists were upset, and they started all those big campaigns. Oh, one of the stories that Zionists got aired on the news was apparently there was this town that never actually existed where they gathered up a whole bunch of Jews into this one city and then set off a nuclear bomb in the middle of it, which never actually happened because only the United States had the ability to drop nuclear bombs. Oh, by the way, after they started dropping nuclear bombs on Japan, that's when that whole story kind of came out. Oh, there's also newsreels of people invading the Dachau gas chambers, and videos of them going, oh, they went and found horrible gas chambers in the Dachau prison camp. But it's well documented that Dachau doesn't even have any gas chambers at all. And that it's actually documented now that that's one of the only camps that doesn't have them. So apparently news has been full of it all the way back then. God damn it, quit fucking hitting the motherfucker. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and everything. I think I'm probably gonna go now. It's getting really late. My ex-girlfriend has not messaged me like I thought she would. Which is kind of disappointing to me, but whatever. I might go to sleep now, I don't know. Yeah, she didn't look at any of my messages, that's kind of annoying. I messaged her like 24 seconds. I messaged her like every like 4 hours since like I think for almost 9 hours now. So but yeah, like, there are some things I just don't understand. Like, there are a lot of things I just don't freaking get. There are a lot of things I just don't freaking get. Like, there are certain things, like, I watch people and I, like, there's no way that someone can seriously believe this. But they do. And then there are other things where, like, try to tell someone something and they're like, no, there's no way that's true. And it's like that expression, reality is stranger than fiction. What time is it in Australia?
The time in Canberra, Australia is 11:27 p.m.
Alright. Australia right now, it ranges from 11 p.m. to 7 p.m. which is alright. It's also kind of what I needed to know. Because I'm also trying to message home from Australia. But I don't know what time it is for them right now. I know. What time is it in England right now?
The time in England, UK, is 12:28 p.m.
Yeah, it's freaking 12 p.m. Why didn't she message me yet? What the heck is going on with her? What she's doing. I think the 1911 is really cool. Maybe that's, probably trying to think of better word, but that's like cool. Really awesome design. I mean, especially like at the time it was designed, the time it was made. Ooh, she just looked at my messages. I hope she's not mad. Yeah, I sent her like 4 messages in like 20 seconds. Yeah, like she's busy like all the freaking time. Like, holy crap. Like, it's really weird, but I always think like she's ignoring me. Then when she finally replies, she's like, "Oh, I'm busy," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." But it's just like, I mean, you don't know until you know. So it's like someone says that there's there's 2 grenades, one's real and one's not. And then they drop one. I mean, like, as far as you're concerned, it's the real one, because you're gonna jump away from it if it's the real one or not. But then after it turns out it's not the real one, you're gonna be like, oh wow, I jumped away for nothing. Well, that's kind of how it is with this. It's like, I don't know if she just like randomly just like blocks me or something. Normally she never blocks me, I say for a reason, but sometimes I wonder, like, if she'll just be like doing something. Talking about now, but thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening to what I had to say. Thank you guys so much for listening. There are a lot of people that just like let it go with one ear out the other and only believe what they want to believe because they are what is known as narrow-minded, where they can only do the certain area of things, and if it's too far beyond their field of perception, they just ignore it. They're like, no, you have to ignore that. They don't even consider the possibility. It's like a blind spot for them. Sorry for spacing. But yeah, she just started messaging back, so I was messaging her, so yes. But yeah, like there are some people that are just like so far down like the illusional rabbit hole that can't really pull them back. And sometimes there's just some people that are so far down that it takes someone with a little bit better like light casting abilities to, and by light casting I mean like casting light on the things they need to see. like give like a spotlight to show people like what certain things are, like that kind of like cast light on subjects that they don't realize, or they just don't want to pay attention to. Those subjects are the ones they need to pay attention to. Those ones are the ones that... Like, there are only certain people that can cast light on those subjects, but yeah. But yeah. I want to know how she's still busy all the time. Like, she didn't used to be this busy all the time. And now it seems like she always has something she needs to do. Damn it, I just drive by again. Oh, it tells you there's still wondering that piece of paper. There's somewhere earlier that thing that like promised the Jews Palestine. She's got a lot of responsibilities she didn't used to have. Yeah, guys, I hope everyone had fun. Watching me so far, but I'm gonna go now. Sorry, this is so long. I really did not mean to make this video that long. I am really sorry, everyone. I'm gonna end it now. Sorry. Bye, guys. Oh, someone left me a comment and I didn't even notice. How rude of me. Uh, 2 hours ago, my friend TJ told, or JT, I can't remember, man. I think it's JT, told me that I need to get Rainbow Six Siege, which I probably do. Seems like a really cool game, it just seems like you get killed really quick. You can still be busy all the time, have happy and fun memories. You just need the right company. Or the right hugger. Or the right hugger. There, that should be right. This is one of those girls that you always like talking to. I never could explain it, but I always enjoyed talking to her. was that joke? Are you teasing me? Maybe it needs some good company transplant. I think I know a viable specimen. Maybe it needs some. I think I know of a viable specimen. Like, I really probably need to end this now because it's probably gone on long enough. Oh, God. But thank you guys so much for watching this long. I know this is probably like 2 or 3 hours of your life you're probably never going to be able to get back. But thank you guys so much for watching.